Viewers, in a democracy that is open and liberal, every citizen has a voice. The citizen also has a right to any opinion, as the law allows that with reasonable restrictions. Hamid Ansari, who has been a career diplomat and then rose to become the vice president of our nation, knows this. He knows this only too well, viewers. He also knows that when he has criticized India's democratic outlook under Modi's government, people have not objected. He knows in some instances his comments have even exercised the left wing, and we have had many debates on his commentary. That's because, viewers, we have a situation in our country where samvad is tolerated. But viewers, increasingly, what Hamid Ansari has been saying is also being viewed with a little bit of cynicism and disregard. That's because his credibility is now at an all-time low. Most people know that his obligation to the Congress for backing his contest for the vice president's post has made him a partisan voice and has induced an ulceric hate, if you like, towards the BJP and its politics. But viewers, when he spoke yesterday at a US congressional hearing, his views have kicked up a storm. Again, not so much because of what he said, viewers, not the substance, but because he didn't check that the hearing was organized by the Indian American Muslim Council, the IAMC. Many leading publications around the world have said has barely concealed connections with some unsavory elements, like the boss of banned terror organization Simi. Indeed, the IAMC has provided a platform to Muhammad Siddiqui. We all know who Muhammad Siddiqui is. According to intelligence agencies and reports in the prestigious Newsweek, for instance, that magazine reported that the IAMC has funded the Al Furqan Foundation, a prominent Salafi proselytization organization. The foundation that has been blacklisted no less by the US government for links with Al-Qaeda and several other Islamist terror groups that are cultivated by Pakistan's deep state and its malevolent Prime Minister Imran Khan. Viewers, the panoply of linkages between the IMC and some of these devious organizations is very well known. You just have to search on Google and you'll get the information. Other journalists and security analysts have said that the body that hosted Hamid Ansari has links with the Islamic Council of North America, which is allegedly the US associate of Pakistan's Hindu-phobic Jamaat-e-Islami. All of this is easily verifiable. Surely, viewers, a public figure like Mr. Ansari should have known that sometimes the message is just as important as the platform from which it is delivered. Tomorrow, if the Al-Qaeda were to invite you, viewers, just think about it. Some of you are public speakers. Some of you are invested in the business of generating opinion. If they were to ask you to attend a seminar that they have organized, would you go? And that too, viewers, with the singular objective of maligning India. Would you go? I don't think you would go. Not just because India made you a vice president. You wouldn't go because you would put your country first, and after having done the homework, you'd have realized that you were becoming a puppet, an instrument in the hands of some individuals or a coterie or a club to take down India internationally. Of course, Mr. Ansari is only following a rich Congress tradition. After all, the Congress leadership has shared a platform with anti-Semitic Labour Party chief Jeremy Corbyn and has also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese Communist Party. Viewers, those visuals too, we have shown you many, many times. On the extreme right, you can see those pictures of the Congress having signed that MOU, and guess who's in the picture? Xi Jinping, the man who torments India, viewers. In the middle, of course, Congress leadership with Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party. All these individuals don't have a good thing to say about our country, viewers. Now let me give you some hard facts here. The founder of the IMC, viewers, Sheikh Ubaid, is the former General Secretary of the Islamic Circle of North America, which, as I've already told you, is linked to Pakistan's Hindu-phobic Jamaat-e-Islami. In fact, we've made a chart so you can understand. There it is. Sheikh Ubaid, former General Secretary of the ICNA, the Islamic Circle of North America, which is a US front for the Jamaat-e-Islami Pakistan, which, as you know, viewers, is a proscribed organization, is under the scanner of Indian law enforcement, and most importantly, is no friend of our country. Then there is Rashid Ahmed, former chief of the IMANA, the Islamic Medical Association of North America. And viewers, its executive director is Zahid Mahmood, director of operations, IAMC. You see, director of operations, who has served in the Pakistani Navy. So you see the ties with Pakistan's deep state, its military establishment, intelligence establishment, and of course all the skullduggerous characters who inhabit Pakistan. You see it? That's the little cocoon in which Mr. Ansari entered. Now, whether it was knowingly or unknowingly, I don't know. He needs to clarify. He needs to step out and say, did he not do the basic diligence, the due diligence that a man who had once been vice president of this country should have done as a public figure? So given that the entire event was sponsored by an organization with controversial linkages, what is the guarantee that Hamid Ansari wasn't playing to a script or even reading out of a script? These are some bona fide questions. It's a question, viewers, because his words were remarkably akin to the kind of propaganda spewed by Pakistan. Don't believe me? Listen to what Hamid Ansari said. Times Now reported this story first today, viewers. We broke it in the morning. Every other news network has picked it up because it is an issue of great concern and national interest. Listen to Hamid Ansari as he spoke, denigrating India, denigrating our democracy on a platform which is compromised. That's the problem. You can say what you want against your country. No problems. No one is bigger than our country, viewers. No one is going to make us feel insecure and shake us up. But don't become a puppet for a bunch of malevolent actors on the global stage that want to bring this country down. That you should never be. Listen, viewers.
In recent years, we have experienced emergence of trends and practices that dispute the well-established principle of civic nationalism and interposes a new and imaginary practice of cultural nationalism. It seeks to present an electoral majority in the guise of a religious majority and monopolize political power. It wants to distinguish citizens on the basis of their faith, give vent to intolerance, insinuate otherness, and promote disquiet and insecurity. Some of its recent manifestations are chilling and reflect poorly on our claim to be governed by rule of law.
Viewers, let's open this up. I want to first begin by asking some very basic questions. Mr. Sanjay Jha joins us on the panel. Kapil Madan of the Congress is also here with us. Kapil Madan, I just want to ask you a very simple question this evening, and I hope to have your response. Does it behove someone of Hamid Ansari's credentials having been the vice president of this country, to be providing legitimacy to an anti-India platform by gracing it? Did he not even do the basic diligence of checking the antecedents of who his hosts were? Or did he not even care because he's so full of bile that he can vomit it out anywhere, on any platform, even if it meant that it was a platform with as dubious credentials as the IAMC? The IAMC organizes this event and he leaps, as if he has nowhere else to go, leaps to accept it. Mr. Madan, would you, for instance, want to go and join the SFJ's platform tomorrow, even if it managed to get a hearing in the Canadian Parliament? Would you go, sir, and spew venom against your country? Because that's the expectation. Would you or would you not?
So Rahulji, let us first see what he has said. I think we need to dissect very, very clearly two aspects.
Forget about what he has said, sir. I have already said. I have no quarrel with what he has said.
No, this is important.
Madan Sahab, I have no quarrel with what he has said. Let's not. No. This is not important. I know. What is important is a choice of platform. Will he go tomorrow and stand in Pakistan Parliament and say all this? You ask me. You answer me this question. I'm asking you.
Rahulji.
He may as well be there.
I'm responding.
He can go to the Pakistani Senate tomorrow and say all this. Vice President.
Of course not.
We all gave him support here to be Vice President.
Of course not.
What majority did he become Vice President because of? An electoral majority, right?
So Rahulji, one thing is very, very clear. In fact, from your rebuttal, that you don't seem to object what he said, meaning thereby you are agreeing the fact
because we don't care. He's a little speck.
Why can't
He's
you
a
care?
little speck, sir, on the landscape of this country. I am telling you, little speck. My question is, my quarrel is not with his message. His message is irrelevant to me.
So
no, because sir, we are too much of a democracy to bother about what people have to say. We accept it. Listen to me. I'm asking you, Mr. Madan. The question is of the platform, not the message. I'm asking you, and today you are looking extremely shifty tonight. Let me tell you, viewers are not liking this dodge.
So one thing.
Forget the message. He has all rights to express his bile on any platform, but not on a platform that is sponsored by our enemies. And that is the question I'm asking you. It's about the platform, not the message. I made that clear. You tell me, do you, and I'm saying this to you, do you accept that the IAMC is a dubious platform? And given the proof that I have put out, and given the fact that it's well known, do you think he should have been part of a clique of individuals invited by a skullduggerous anti-national force to address the gathering? Simple question. It's a basic question. आप करते Madan Sahab, आप करते हिंदुस्तानी होने के नाते आप करते. Would you have done it?
मैं आपको respond करता हूँ, Rahul ji. Please allow me to speak uninterruptedly. Okay. So one thing is that you don't have any problem with the message, and the problem is with the choice of the platform that has been used. I am reading a report that was published in the Hindu, and that, as per that report, I think where he spoke, this event was organized by 15 organizations, and Hindus for Human Rights is one of such organizations, along with Indian American Muslim Council, and it says there are 50 other organizations. So the point is that you are trying. Do you know the history of these organizations? Just do a Google, and you will see where they come from. Who is behind them? That's Rahul.
Each one of these organizations is a front for somebody or the other.
Rahulji,
it doesn't matter. You have accepted, right, that one of the organizations that put together this. No, I'm asking you a simple question.
No, Rahul.
You know the panoply of organizations
are you disputing
that have extended this invite? Would you have
Hindus
gone?
for Human Rights was not one of the organization or organizer of this event? I mean, are you disputing, or are you also saying?
Do you know what Hindus for Human Rights is? Oh my God! You have really no clue. You have really no clue. This is not Hindu-Muslim, sir. These are front organizations, Mr. Madan.
Yes.
Are you as clueless as the rest of the Congress leadership?
No.
Are you as clueless? Are you as clueless?
Allow me to respond. No, I'm asking you one very simple question, Rahulji. You are a responsible journalist. We have UAPA here, where we ban and proscribe these illegal organizations. And I don't know. In fact, I tried hard to find out that these entities are legally proscribed by the process of the law. I mean, I asked this question to you because I could not find that. If that is being so, I totally agree with you that if the organization is banned.
Sir, did you not hear? Listen, did you not hear? I've done the homework for you, Mr. Madan. That's why I'm asking you these questions. I would not. If you don't know, you can take that plea that I'm ignorant. Though being ignorant under the law is not something that is pardonable. You know this better. You're a lawyer. You have come, at least you are claiming that you are ignorant, you have no clue. But I want to bring in.
No, I have not said that. I'm asking
Professor Operajita tonight.
Has the government of India,
I have told you, I have already begun the show. Sir, I am telling you, sir, that this particular organization, which has links to the... Please, Mr. Madan, listen to me. If you don't know, wait for my answer.
Specific question. I am saying, has the government banned these organizations or not?
It doesn't understand
your research, you've not said so. It is a banned organization or it is not a banned organization. If it is a banned organization, she should not have
Mr. Madan, do you know that in Tripura it is under the scanner of the Indian law? For God's sake, do your homework, don't be dumb.
Is it a banned organization?
1 minute, let me bring in Sanju Verma. Let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, the Congress is...
Being a banned organization is another thing.
Wait. The Congress's plea tonight is very simple. If it's not banned, it can be anti-Indian. It can be sponsored by Pakistan. If it's not banned, it's kosher. It's okay.
That's not
हमारे सारे नेता वहां जाके हिंदुस्तान की निंदा करेंगे. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, हमारे को कोई इशू नहीं है. आप बैन कीजिए तभी आप बैन कीजिए तभी हम नहीं जाएंगे. If it's not banned, we'll go to any anti-India grouping and we will do a great song and dance. We will sing we will sing hosannas. It's okay. Now hang on. I just want to bring in.
Yes.
I want to bring in the BJP, Sanju Verma. I want to bring in Professor Operajita also. Sanju Verma, respond to the Congress party. They made a charge. If it's not banned, it's kosher. No problems.
Rahul, I just want to say one thing. I'm reminded today by of that famous quote by Franklin said, men are not prisoners of their fate. Men are prisoners of their minds. And I think Hamid Ansari, despite having served as the Vice President of India for a good 10 years, I'm sorry to say this, but I will not mince any words. The fact remains, he's a prisoner of his own bigotry. They say those who dare not reason are slaves, those who cannot reason are fools, those who will not reason are bigots. And I think Hamid Ansari ticks all these categories. He refuses to reason, he dare not reason, he cannot reason. Rahul, what I found very, very disconcerting was the fact that he said electoral majority in the guise of religious majority is monopolizing power. In simple terms, he says that the Hindu majority of this country has monopolized power. Basically, he says that there is no rule of law, there is no democratic ethos, and we are a banana republic. That is what he's saying in as many words. And I would just like to remind Mr. Hamid Ansari, because I'm sure he's watching Rahul Shivshankar's show today. We had Zakir Hussain as the President of India from 1967 to 1969. Before that, he was the Vice President for 5 years. Before that, he was the Governor of Bihar. In 1979, Mohammad Hidayatullah, he was earlier the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. He took over as the Vice President of India. Then we had somebody like Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed. He took over as the President of India from B.V. Giri. And then in 2002, you had APJ Abdul Kalam, who served as the be President of India for his term. So the fact is, Muslims in India have enjoyed the highest positions, and for Hamid Ansari to trash India's democratic traditions, ethos and values by trying to play the majoritarianism versus the minoritism card is a race to the bottom. The other thing that he says...
Let me say. One second. Let me also say something else. Just let me point out something. You know, why didn't Ansari bemoan the wanton application of sedition laws under the UPA when he was busy taking the help of its numerical majority to become vice president? On one particular day, viewers, thousands of activists were jailed under sedition laws, which they still continue to fight, by the way, in South India, in Tamil Nadu. No, not a squeak then. That numerical majority was being put to good use, viewers, to lock up authors, to keep Salman Rushdie out of this country. Several other constraints on free speech were applied. There was an individual, a Bangladeshi author called Taslima Nasreen. Viewers, at that time, Mr. Ansari never spoke up. You see, the numerical majority in that case helped him because he became vice president. It's a real problem for Ansari that he bears a visceral grudge against the BJP for its electoral majority. Is that really what is eating him up?
Exactly.
Viewers, there are many questions. Shouldn't we ask if Hamid Ansari has done his due diligence or checked the antecedents of the organizers before he chose to participate in the event? Now, let me tell you, I want to read out excerpts from international press like Newsweek and many other magazines. We have compiled this, viewers, a whole collection. Now listen to this. The IMC, despite denying links to Simi, even though it hosted the Simi chief for one of its events, just like it hosted Mr. Ansari, clearly sympathizes with the Jamaat-e-Islami Hind, Simi's former parent organization. Although the GIH claims to have moderated over the years, it continues to seek the reconstruction of society and the formation of state in accordance with Islamic principles. It's written in their preamble, viewers. So when you're talking about pluralism, certainly don't be on a platform of an organization which looks at a very unipolar view of the world. IMC produces phoning news briefings and social media posts promoting the GIH activities, even referring to it as a savior to Indians. Sufia Salim, IMC's vice president in 2017, has shared at least 30 posts from the official Facebook page belonging to the more extremist Jamaat-e-Islami branch in Pakistan, which, viewers, is proscribed under Indian law. No problems. On November 18th, GIH National Vice President Mohammad Salim Engineer appeared at an IMC event. Despite his history of homophobic statements, talking about pluralism, viewers, these are the individuals. These are their views. Professor Operajita, what do you make of this? Mr. Hamid Ansari's righteous appearance on this platform.
So, good evening. My first reaction to former Vice President Hamid Ansari's even participating in this briefing was that this is a manifestation of unacceptable and puzzling behavior from a two-term Vice President of India. It is lacking in grace and a certain inbuilt sense of protocol that we, sort of associate with that office. The worst thing was he made these statements against India offshore and to an international community. That's not kosher and deliriously tasteless. And second, that if India is, Ms. Verma pointed this out earlier, if India is as intolerant as he jacks it up to be, how was he, a Muslim, even allowed to be Vice President of India for 2 terms, for 10 years? And, with the second term lasting for 3 years after the BJP came to power. And where during those 2 terms, was he specifically discriminated against? Then he talks about the religious majority and so on. The religious majority in India, I'm sorry to say, has been reduced to minority in terms of its voicelessness only because of its quintessential willingness to absorb and to allow other faiths to assimilate. This is the history of the Sanatan Dharma. As a result, evangelists are converting entire villages of poor and illiterate Hindus in some southern states and Punjab. And one state is assiduously demolishing Hindu temples, right? And about the otherness which Mr. Ansari mentions, if you want separate laws in a parliamentary democracy about women's rights, the number of wives you can have, separate courts, and so much else, the othering emanates from that community, okay? One question I have here for both Mr. Ansari and the great panel that put together the stuff. Why do they never mention the Uyghurs? Okay, just keep that in mind. The fact that there is so much belligerence against one community, one Muslim community, but notwithstanding all that, neither Congress, nor the Senate, nor any American leaders will castigate the Uyghurs, will castigate those who are, punishing the Uyghurs and indulging in very inappropriate behavior with them. Now, this panel, which discussed pluralism in India, in an act of patent Hindu phobia, Buddhist phobia, Sikh phobia, Jain phobia, did not see fit to feature a single speaker from those communities? What kind of discussion is that? How pluralistic is that? You just erase 1 billion people, you're discussing India, and 900 million Hindus live in India, but they're not on your panel. Just one more minute. And more significantly, how would it be, Mr. Shivshankar, if our members of parliament held special sessions on George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor? This could evolve or devolve into a messy slugfest, with the Americans getting a taste of their own cough syrup. But India has shown remarkable maturity and remarkable restraint in not muddying itself by meddling in the stuff of other countries' internal affairs. However, that's pretty much the USP of a bunch of American leaders, and they need to grow up. They need to, recognize that America's actions, which are predicated on an imperial diktat of lawmaking, and its legislation on law and peace are imposed on the world. And one last thing I want to say, when the USCIRF was denied visas for the first time to come and look at, investigate religious pluralism and fundamentalism in India, who was it who denied them the visas in 2009? It was Dr. Manmohan Singh's government. All right.
There you go. There you go. Today you're supplicants in the court of a grouping that you denied visas to. Sanjay Jha, 2009, UPA denied this grouping visas for its anti-India bias. And today the supplicant there, at the invite of the, and one has to say this, at the invite of this organization is Hamid Ansari, a person whose entire family has been associated with the Congress party, and the IMC, one of its biggest bosses, the founder, Sheikh Ubaid, is the General Secretary of the Islamic Circle of North America, which the US government has blacklisted as an organization with links to Pakistan's Hindu-phobic Jamaat-e-Islami. I mean, it's right there in the chapter head. If you can't read it, then unfortunately, sir, there's something very wrong.
Okay, Rahul, let me answer you very succinctly. The platform, you have missed a very critical point, and I'll expose the BJP's political hypocrisy on that in just a second. But before I answer that fundamental question that you're debating, I'm glad you agreed that what Mr. Ansari said was frankly not objectionable, because he spoke about the truth of India's politics We discuss it on your show day after day.
No, I didn't say he spoke
There are
truth.
five.
I didn't say he spoke
critical points.
I said every Indian is entitled to his point of view.
Stop
No, one
lying.
second. Don't misquote
Stop
me.
lying.
Sanjay Jha, I just want to step in there. Don't misquote me. 1 second. Please. I can speak for myself. 1 minute. I'll read out what I said. Please. Let me just read out. There is no endorsement of his views. Let me tell you. Viewers, in a democracy that is open and liberal, every citizen has a voice. The citizen also has a right to any opinion as the law allows that with reasonable restrictions. Hamid Ansari, who has been a career diplomat and then rose to be the vice president of the nation, knows this. He also knows that when he has criticized India's democratic outlook under Modi's government, people have not objected. That's because his credibility is at an all-time low. In fact, I question his credibility. I go on to say, most people know that his obligation to the Congress for backing his contest. No, don't get on with it by misquoting me. You get on with it by making your own position on this clear. So don't misquote me. I also said, most people know that his obligation to the Congress for backing his contest for the vice president's post has made him a partisan voice and has induced an ulceric hate towards the BJP and its politics. It's a fact. So I'm now asking you, having made this position very clear, I measure my words. I don't use words loosely because I know that these organizations are looking for one snip to sue me and the channel. So I'm very, very careful about what I'm saying, my research. It's all there, pat. Nothing out of context. I'm quoting out of Newsweek. I'm quoting out of top US magazines. The US Homeland Security Department's own press notes and releases. This is not a game of fiction here. Hard facts is what defines this particular show and me as a
Rahul, can I come in now?
Anchor. So now, Sanjay Jha, I'm only saying, please go ahead. So I'm only saying, don't misquote me. I only said people have every right to say whatever they want to as long as they say it within the ambit of the law, that they don't incite riots, etc., because that's proscribed. All I'm saying is he should have chosen the platform with great discretion, given that he has been a vice president who took oath on the constitution of our country, took oath to uphold it, was the manager of the House of Elders, a person who is supposed to have the wisdom of knowing that every word he speaks could have an impact, and therefore he needs to assess for himself whether the platform that is being offered to him is kosher or not. And he failed to do so, which raises many questions about his motives. That's fundamentally what I'm asking you, Sanjay Jha. Should we be today asking Mr. Ansari if he willfully abetted in Pakistani propaganda? Simple question. By going out at the invite of an organization that has deep ties, I'm not saying this, its own founders have been discovered by the United States government as having links with certain organizations which have been blacklisted. So please, Mr. Jha, go ahead.
Thank you. Give me half the time that you have taken and I'll wrap this up in a jiffy. Number one, and I told you I will answer I'll expose the BJP's hypocrisy in just about a minute. But the context needs to be absolutely clear. You're talking about a country where there is an open call for genocide of Muslims in Haridwar and in Jantar Mantar. You're talking about a country...
There was no BJP leader present at the Dharam Sansad.
Can I have no interruption?
Yati is not a BJP
1 minute, let him finish.
Rahul, you have to...
Let him finish, madam. Madam, let him finish. Let him finish. You can respond. Madam,
stop.
We are not going anywhere. Sanju Verma, let him 1 minute. Let him first. The facts will come out clearly, right, Sanju Verma? I'll give you the opportunity. But let him finish his point. Please, let him finish. Yes.
So let me repeat that again for those who lost what I said in the tape. Haridwar and Jantar Mantar saw an open call for genocide of Muslims in India. The Prime Minister of this country did not say a word. On a bully by, it wasn't again, she started, why is she so insecure? Why is the BJP so rattled, Rahul? That answers the whole debate.
I take strong objection to your
debate. Can I finish?
Sanjay Jha, this is not about the BJP's hypocrisy. This is about Hamid Ansari's hypocrisy. Let's be honest. Sanju Verma, you want to respond? You want to respond? No. Sanju Verma, Sanjay Jha, you are not making any. No. Look, you are just Sanjay Jha. You're not answering the question. There is no context. I'm asking you, should he be on a platform that is dubious? It's a simple question. Would you appear? I'm asking you. Would you appear? No, 1 second. Sanjay Jha, let me ask you. You're a public commentator. Will you appear on any Joe Blow? No. Will you appear on any Joe Blow platform in this country? Would you? Or would you be discerning? No, I'll go to a platform which has some legacy, some history. I'm asking you a simple question.
Rahul, when does your
You're an
question
author,
end?
you're a writer. Would you go to some...
question end?
No, I'm asking you the question, you don't answer me.
Okay,
I'm asking you the question. I'm asking you. This is about a person who...
Calm down, take a deep breath. I'm answering you. Yeah, okay. Silence.
Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Please.
Okay, here comes my answer. In that event in Washington held virtually as well, there were members who were from the Democratic Party, whether senators or congressmen. Instead of the BJP coming on your show and doing press conferences, the fundamental question is this a view of the US government? I would, if the foreign minister of this country should be questioning the US Secretary of State. Mr. Modi should talk to Mr. Biden. Is this a view of the US government?
My question. Bizarre, very bizarre.
That is
very bizarre. 1 minute. Very bizarre. Very bizarre. Again, the US. No, 1 second. The US congressmen and senators are answerable to their people. They can stand in a bathroom for all I care. They can stand in a bathroom and hold a meeting in a sauna. I don't care. What matters to me is where an Indian citizen has gone and at whose invite and whose behest he is making a commentary. Forget about that. Forget about that. Your own 2009, your own UPA had a problem. Your own UPA had a problem with this organization. And Hamid Ansari, who was linked to the UPA because the UPA sponsored his candidature, has no qualms about appearing on the platform of a body that the UPA itself proscribed. I mean, look at the hypocrisy.
Even the
30 seconds. Sanju Verma, respond.
30 seconds, please. Rahul,
respond.
Thank you.
Sanju Verma needs to respond.
We heard you. Rahul, I tell you something very interesting. You know, everybody. Please, Sanjay Jha, we heard you.
Let's talk
Rahul,
about it.
can you please ask him not to give me background music? I don't need your background music.
You want grace?
I don't need your background music. Please keep quiet now. Please hold your horses. Can you shut up? Because you don't understand politeness. Rahul, this is not done. Let him continue.
Okay, this is Sanju. 1 minute. Sanjay Jha, please, Sanjay Jha, please. Let's not muddy the waters further. I think Mr. Ansari has done a fantastic job. Yes, go ahead.
You cannot give me a taste of my own medicine because you're a suspended leader. Your own party does not care who hoots about you. So shut up now and listen. Rahul.
Okay. Yes, make your point.
Shut up and listen now. You're a suspended leader.
One second. Go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, Sanju Verma. Go ahead. Make your point. Yeah, go ahead. Make your point.
She has nothing to say to Haridwar.
I think the line got cut.
To Gujarat riots.
Hello.
No answers.
Okay, I think we've lost her. We've lost her there. We've lost her.
Answers.
Let me tell you, viewers, the Indian government. 1 minute, Sanju Jha, Mr. Sanjay Jha. 1 second. This congressional hearing, viewers, has been organized.
You owe me an apology for that.
Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. Sanjay, I don't owe you any apology. Sanjay Jha, please listen to me. Don't lose yourself in the rhetoric that you are spinning here. You know, sometimes we believe our own rhetoric. Mohandas Pai, let me tell you, this organization that was conducting the hearings, by the way, has been viscerally attacked by the Indian government for spreading canards. The invite comes from an organization which is under the scanner of US authorities, let alone anyone for their ties to certain proscribed and dubious entities in Pakistan. And I'm asking you, Mr. Pai, what is your reaction to Hamid Ansari going on that panel and speaking before these organizations?
I'm very angry and upset that a former vice president of this country, who should have better sense and who has been an academic, has not shown the judgment to verify which platform is speaking, and joined forces who are anti-India forces which are supported by Pakistan and Turkey, and forces which are boycott, which we handle, which are hate mongers who support the Taliban and make speeches about India. I don't care what he thinks about India and how he criticizes India within India. Let him talk what he wants, because he's a free citizen of a free country, and we all know how bigoted he is, having participated in the PFI seminar in India. We know what his views are and how he's been exposed. But the fact is, he went on this platform in a foreign country, and a platform consisting of people who are funded likely by Pakistan and Turkey and who are aligned with terrorist forces, with the United States has done this, is shocking. It shows a lack of judgment or a deliberate intent on his part, and that is what is upsetting citizens of this country, because the vice president is an ordinary citizen going and doing this like that failed actress. Nobody will care. And Rahul, we had an archbishop from Bangalore, Archbishop Machado, who was supposed to be there speaking there. I don't know what he spoke and why he spoke. I don't know why these both people didn't have the basic ability or the intelligence to find out which platform they're speaking, what does the platform do, and what does the platform say. That is the point. I think it's come down in the public esteem. He was a man of no consequence earlier. Now I think he has to be forgotten as a historic relic who seemed to occupy the position. And it's very sad that he does this to his own country, a country which gives special privileges to his own community to speak about majority rule. In India, the Muslims get special privilege in Articles 29 and 30. 50,000 crores is spent by the state governments and union government for the minorities. That money comes from all taxpayers, not from the Muslim community. And they bite. He never stood up for the rights of Muslim women. Muslim women are discriminated in India because of religious laws, personal laws. He never stood up for them. He never stood up for human rights. He never argued against those mullahs who called for a Hindu genocide, or OIC called for a Hindu genocide. I didn't see Sanjay Jha doing that and saying that person who called for a Hindu genocide who now join the Congress party should be prosecuted. All the people in Haridwar, most of them are under arrest. They've been persecuted. Hindus have criticized it. They said it's not acceptable, and that is the view of the nation. But what about you, Sanjay? Have you criticized the mullahs and the extremists who called repeatedly for killing the Hindus? Have you ever done that at one point of time to show a commitment to human rights? Now, these are all people who have lost their senses, who are driven by hatred, Hindu-phobia and bigotry, who just want to spread their hatred. Sanjay, stand up for principles once in a while. You are a good man.
I lost the audio.
Okay.
May I please come in?
Okay. Ashutosh.
I lost the audio.
Yeah, 1 second. We'll just... we'll come. We'll just bring you in. 1 second. 1 second. I'll just bring you in. Ashutosh, as I've been asking, and this is a fundamental question, and this is a question that I began the debate with. I'm not getting any clear answers. I'm expecting you to at least supply us with some clarity on this. Both the US ISCRS, which is an organization that has been pulled up by India also, and by the international community, many countries around the world, for spreading bogus lies, quote unquote, if you just look at the news report. And the other organization which extended the IMC, the invite to Mr. Ansari, are organizations with dubious linkages. Should Mr. Hamid Ansari have accepted their invite, given the fact that the UPA itself had problems with some of these organizations? Should he have done his due diligence?
Rahul, first of all, let me put it on record. Hamid Ansari will go down in history as one of the best vice presidents this country has ever produced. One of the most learned diplomat this country has produced. So whatever attempt Satta Pratishthan will try to denigrate him, let them do. It will not affect him at all. It was very entertaining to listen to what Mohandas Pai was saying. I could understand that he is in a race to become the next vice president of India. My support all for him. I know you are an idiot, Ashutosh. I know you are an idiot. I didn't know you were a joker. Did I call you joker, Mr. Mohandas Pai?
Okay.
You are a joker, man.
Look,
you are an idiot and a joker.
1 second.
Stop that
Ashutosh ji.
Did I call you joker?
Ashutosh ji, make a substantive point. I'm asking you a simple
rebut this man.
question.
rebut
You know,
this
we are
man.
not discussing the legacy of Hamid Ansari. We are not discussing, whether Mr. Mohandas Pai is going to become vice president. I'm asking you a question. अगर आपको नहीं जवाब देना तो मेरा time मत waste कीजिए. बताइए. Okay. Lower everyone's faders. Lower everyone's faders. Lower everyone's faders. The BJP wants to respond. Charges were made by Sanjay Jha against the Prime Minister. BJP needs to respond very quickly on this. Sanju Verma, go ahead.
Okay.
Very
Thank you,
quickly.
Rahul.
Yes.
Rahul, you know, one very important point which I want to make, because Hamid Ansari has been trying to trash the Modi government in no uncertain terms by trying to showcase as if majoritarianism is running amok in this country. The fact is that the worst communal riots, be it the Bhagalpur riots, be it the Hashimpura riots, be it the Aligarh riots of 2006, be it the Dhule riots of 2008, be it the Deganga riots of 2010, be it the Bharatpur riot of 2011, be it the Assam riots of 2012, be it the Muzaffarnagar riots of 2013, it all happened under the watchful eyes of a so-called secular Congress government, of which Hamid Ansari is supposedly a tall leader. So the first fact is that if there has been any communalization of politics, it has always been under the Congress. And I will end by saying one thing. What a day for Sanjay Jha to trash the BJP when their own Muslim leader today, CM Ibrahim, has quit the party saying all that the Gandhis do is politics of appeasement, which has never benefited the Muslims, whereas the BJP believes justice for all, appeasement of none, and we walk the talk. We don't indulge in whataboutery like Sanjay Jha. We don't indulge in whataboutery like Rahul Gandhi. We don't indulge in whataboutery like Priyanka Vadra. We don't indulge in whataboutery like Galiwali Madam Supriya
I'm stepping in. 1 minute. I'm stepping in. I'm stepping in. Okay, I'm stepping in here. Viewers, I just also want to bring another fact to the table. Last year, this Indian American Muslim Council, the IAMC, falsely claimed that all the dead during the Delhi riots were Muslims. Here, viewers, is a fact check that was done by other media. This is the credibility of this organization. This is who Mr. Hamid Ansari has legitimized. An organization that spreads fake news. I'm taking a short break. I'm coming right back to another important subject. Don't go away, viewers.